Günaydın değerli katılımcılar. 1. Uluslararası Tesis Yönetimi Konferansı'nın 2. gününe, bir cuma sabahına hepiniz hoş geldiniz. Şimdi İsviçre Sağlık, Endüstrisi ve Hastanelerinde Tesis Yönetimi başlıklı konuşmasını sunmak üzere Zürih Üniversite Hastanesi Tesis Yönetim Planlaması ve Yapım Başkanı Sayın Susanna Caravatti'nin kürsüye teşriflerini arz ederim.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, perfect.
That's the pointer and the big button is the next slide.
Wonderful, thank you. Dear distinguished facility management and real estate experts or professionals, dear guests, it's an honor for me to talk to you here at this interesting facility management conference. I was asked to introduce you to the Swiss healthcare and facility management planning and construction within Switzerland. And my personal, oops, how this works. Back. That's back. Yeah. So I know how it functions. And to my person, I work since around 7 years within the University Hospital in Zürich. And beside that, I'm the chairman of ICFM Switzerland, and I'm also the ambassador of EuroFM for Switzerland. And within my speech, I'd like to start first to introduce you a little bit in the healthcare of Switzerland and the hospital area, and then I come to the complete renewal of our hospital, and that's also the reason why facility management planning and construction is so important at our hospital. The renewal will take over 20 years, and the first building will be there, and we will take over and use it in 2026. So we are still 8 years ahead. So that's to see how the time has to be, and we have to be prepared early for that. And then I explain you the FM concepts we want to do in the future, and at the end I come to the point of the transformation. That's very important. So the Swiss healthcare, it's quite complex. You see it on that graph. We have the public, the subsidized private, and the totally private healthcare. And we have a huge network of highly qualified doctors. And 10% in average of our salary goes to the insurance, health insurance. So each person of us are in a separate scheme, and we pay on our own our taxes for the insurance. We have 26 cantons, and each canton is administrating this healthcare system on its own. So that gives you a little bit an idea about Switzerland, how it works. And everyone who is living in Switzerland has to have an insurance in accidents and the basic. And you as a inhabitants has to be approved or obliged from each of these insurance companies, or quite of each of them. So it's important, and it's a good system. When we come to the area of Zürich, where I focus, we have 33 hospitals with 6,300 beds. That means we have 4.2 beds per 1,000 inhabitants. As you compare that with Turkey, you only have, as far as I know, 2 beds per 1,000 inhabitants. You see there is a huge difference in that system. And then we do it. When we come to Zürich itself, the university hospital works together with 3 other university hospitals. The Children's Hospital, the hospital in Balgrist, who cares about all the knees and all those things, and the psychiatry. And beside that, we have the Center of the Dentistry, And we also have the university itself. They all work close together. The university hospital itself has a supervising board, has the executive boards, and then the 9 different medicine disciplines. And within this executive board, you will also find the director of facility management. That's a quite important thing. So all the facility management disciplines are covered under that direction in our hospital. We have a strategy of the US facility management that goes along the principles, the market impact, the networking, and the organizations. So that's important that we know where we want to go. Because of the construction phase, and that you face in a company that the organization is changing all the time, we focus mainly on processes. So the main business are divided into processes, and within the facility management department, we have those 3 main processes: supply chain management process, real estate management process, and hospitality management process. I thought probably it's important to give you an idea how these processes are divided and split up in a way of benchmarking, like we look at it. In the supply chain management, we have the procurement part, the inventory management, the transportation, distribution, and also the process for medical equipment. And then in the real estate management phase, we have a very important part, the medicine technology, but also the maintenance of the buildings and assets. And then in the hospitality management process, there are the customer services, the safety and security, the catering, the cleaning, and the patient catering, and the laundry included. And mostly when we think about facility management, we think about probably real estate management processes. But in our hospital, based on 100% of the employees, we are split that quite 70% goes into the hospitality area. And that's something you never will think about. So that's the service, the important service within facility management. You also see then the detailed figures about that. So if you see maintenance and building assets are only 8%. Here are some other figures about the hospital, so you get an idea about the size. For example, goods to distribute are 50 tons a day. Or we cook in the kitchen meals for patients for 2,500, that's 3 times a day, so you can divide that by 3. Or for the employees, 3,200 meals. Or another example is the procurement volume, who is 250 millions, and that's also in the power of the facility management. So I come to the complete renewal of the university hospital. We don't do this on our own. Also, our colleagues, the university and the technical university, are rebuilding their buildings and their structure, and we do that together. And this cooperation in research, teaching, and medical care is quite unique in Europe. And I think that's a strong point of our location and of our university activities. That's how it looks like at home. You see, this structure was built up in the recent 80 years, and you can imagine that for a patient it must be quite difficult to find their way through all those different buildings. So that's the reason why we do it new. You have here some examples about the size, and out of these quite 8,000 employees, 1,100 are within facility management. Some other figures, there are 340,000 square meters There are 90 buildings, so it's quite difficult to manage this complex infrastructure. That's the orange buildings. That's the new look of the university hospital in 2043. So that's the way how we plan. And you see on the left, that's the first building, on the right, sorry, it's the first building, the first part we will do, and this will start in 2026. And that will be how it looks like in 2043, on the same spot, so it's quite difficult and challenging. And it's not only the infrastructure we change the whole university hospital and the function, the principles. And this goes in the direction like today, we have each clinic has its own room, its own organization. We have rigid functions, we have independent processes, we have not standardized areas, and we have custom-made use. And we will focus now only on having operational platforms, ownership-based. So all the platforms with the same functions goes together. And we will work much more flexible, consistent, standardized, and interdisciplinary. So you see that's a huge change we are going to do. So it comes to the facility management, planning, and construction in this area. And with these pictures, you see digitalization is a main part of it. It shows the digital twin that we use within building information modeling. I come to that back later in my speech. A common success factor can be how you develop this. On the left, you have the developing, the planning, the realization with the project management, with the common data, the business concepts. Then you go to the transfer, the takeover of the building, the successful operation, to ensure the know-how. And then in the operational phase, you have the data management, optimization of that, and also redevelopment and dismantling. And in the middle, normally we have this valley of death. It doesn't work at all. There are two different parts. And what we do within facility management, planning and construction is to combine that this doesn't happen. That people, they will have to do the operation, they are involved already in the development. This picture shows this a little bit. On the top, you see the building, design, construction, and with the facility management processes and the operational planning, you then together come to the construction optimization, and this goes then to the building design construction. So the value proposition of facility management planning and construction is, first, you need to have a strategy of the company itself. You need to have a clear strategy for the facility management, but also you have to need concepts how you want to go in the future. And I will explain that also to you shortly. Beside that, the objectives are to bring the life cycle in the focus. The investment should be based on the interest of facility management, so on the operational phase. Focus must be standardization. So you can still difference the services given by the SLAs, but standardization is key. The implementation of the FM concept should start early, already within the construction phase. And to talk to the technical planner, we as an FM needs to possess purchase competences so that we really can address our requirements. And this is essential that we are involved in all the construction projects, and we are that already. So in each project organization, we have our seat. To do that, before I had developed a roadmap, and I did this with my team along these 7 fields. So strategy, standardization, guidelines, data management, transformation, communication, and controlling. That's the basic that you then can work and be efficient. Now I come to the FM concepts itself. The principles of the future-oriented FM concepts are using the space very efficiently. Standardization, as I have already said. But it's also important to simplify the processes as much as possible. You have to have a flexible system because the building, the infrastructure will be over many years, 60, 80 years, so you have to make sure that it's still flexible. And then also for the employees, you have to make sure that they have a relaxation and an area where they can really relax and get their power back. Also, in the area of IT, there it's important that you create the right interfaces. And beside that, you can lower taxes and fees, but also in a sum, you can lower the resources itself. So these are the areas where we have developed the different concepts. This is probably easier to show it with pictures. And what is very important, there are also along hospitality management, real estate, and supply chain management processes, as said before. And it is an overall concept. It's not each part or discipline working on their own. It's important that they go along. So we have catering, wardrobes, signalization and access, bed preparation, distribution of goods, warehouse, the technical part, the workplace, the use of robots in the hospital for transportation, and the optimization of the waste management. And, as I already mentioned, the BIM. So the first of one, I explained those 3 or 2 of those concepts, and the first is the garment and wardrobes. Here we come to an automated and impersonal systems. Today we had different garderobe spread over the areas, and now we focus only on 4 centralized wardrobes. And we already started this today, so we are now changing those these concepts so that the people already have in mind how it works and have not to have this changed later on. And with this, we can save the space, we can reduce the laundry volume itself, we can control the circulation flow, and we will be very efficient in the order picking. A second example is in the digitalization. So we will use in the future biometrical systems to get access, and we will have a fully digitalized signalization. This ensures a much better security, is much more optimized in the thinking of hygienic, and it's really using the new technology, and it is a consistent concept overall the hospital, where today we have different systems all over. And a third example is the autonomous transport robots. We have this already a bit, but not in the detail. But what we will do is autonomous transport end-to-end, so means the goods comes in the delivery area, and it goes with the robots actually within the room, into the room where the material are stored. And what we do there is make use of the 24 hours we have a day. We use reusable containers, and we make use of the space when it's empty. So that means we will do the transportation in the night. So then the infrastructure in the night is empty, so we can use the robots there and really make use of the infrastructure 24 hours. And therefore, we can also reduce the personnel. And the last what I would like to explain you is the building information modeling. There, helps with an early involvement and an early control for the facility management and also for the users. We have these two different common data environments, and the architects and the planning phase will work with one common data environment and develop their the twins, the digital twin, so that we can see and understand as a user and also as facility management how these future buildings will look like. We can simulate all the processes within this digital twin, and then when it comes to operation, we get all the data in our operational common data environment, and we can decide which data we want to use and which not, and there don't have to develop those data on our own and be already aware of these data and the processes before. And as I said, there's a huge changes, and to make sure that this happens, you can't imagine how much you have to put into the transformation efforts. You have people, processes, and technology, and all three have to go through this transformation to come to the new function and structure. And you have to do this step by step, and to have to talk and have meetings and convince people over the period of time. Even though we think 8 years is a long time to go, but we have to learn so much, so we really have to take this time and to think about, otherwise it will never happen and people go to back what they know. That's my experience and my big advice to you. So I hope I give you an idea about the importance of facility management planning and construction. Thank you.